guys, welcome back to my channel if it's your first time here. Today is a very exciting day for us on this channel because I'm bringing you a new segment on my channel called the Weekly Watchout. Just a little bit about what to expect from this segment. I essentially want to be your plug for all things TV shows and movies, providing you with some kind of review or opinion on things that I watch, whether they're local or international. It's gonna be just like I'm talking to a friend, nothing serious, but I do just want to say I will be reviewing these movies or TV shows in the 5 following categories, namely plot, concentration, genre accuracy, acting, and overall production. Anyways, enough about all of that. Let's get into today's first episode. To start us off, I've decided, you know what, let's do a sci-fi thriller, okay? And it's a movie that I genuinely enjoyed, so don't judge me for this being the first choice. But I recently watched a movie called Voyagers, which was released on the 9th of April 2021. So this movie is very, very new. Let's get into the plot of this movie. So I'm gonna be reading the Wikipedia, description of the movie, and I'll basically just tell you if it's accurate or not, if that's what you can expect or not. With the future of the human race at stake, a group of young men and women bred for intelligence and obedience embark on an expedition to colonize a distant planet. When they uncover disturbing secrets about the mission, they defy their training and begin to explore their most primitive natures. As life on the ship descends into chaos, they soon become consumed by fear, lust, and an insatiable hunger for power. I think that description is pretty much spot on. If anything, just to get you to better understand what to expect. It does kind of give Lord of the Flies energy, just in a spaceship kind of environment or situation. When it comes to following the movie and the plot overall, I do think that the movie is a pretty simple movie. There's nothing super complicated about it. And if you want to compare it to other movies where you do need a lot of concentration, for example Inception, this one is nothing like that. It's not like Inception, it's not like Shutter Island where you have to Google oh my gosh, the scalpel, what does the scalpel mean? Inception, is it real or not? This is very straightforward, and I think most sci-fi thrillers are straightforward. So this one is no different. Now let's talk about the concentration level required for this movie. I thought this was an important category because we're not always in the mood for something where we have to super concentrate, or a super long movie, or one that is super meta. So with Voyagers, there's no such a thing like that. Once you watch it, you don't have any questions or any lingering thoughts. If anything, at the end you're just wondering okay, what ended up happening when they did get to that distant planet. When the chaos does ensue on the spaceship is entirely divided, okay? There's some people who are nah bruh, we can do this our own way, forget our training, we don't need any of that. And then you have the other side who's yes guys, this is for the human race, we gotta concentrate, we have to do it. And I think it's just interesting how they go about portraying that power struggle between good and evil, and I think that that's something that you guys should definitely watch out for when you watch it. Let's dive into genre accuracy. So this movie is categorized as a sci-fi thriller, and if you do a Google search on sci-fi thriller movies, there are a bunch of movies within that category, so it kind of makes it hard to decide on whether Voyagers sticks true to the nature of that category, considering how broad all those movies are in there. For example, you'll see that Tenet is in there, Escape Room is in there, Bird Box is in there, Flatliners is in there, alongside some more traditional sci-fi thrillers like The Cloverfield Paradox, Life, and The Fifth Wave. So you can see how broad the sci-fi thriller categorization is if you just have a look at some of the movies that I've just mentioned. But I do think Voyagers does stay true to that traditional portrayal of sci-fi thrillers. I mean, it's a bunch of kids in space, things go wrong, and so the story goes. So I think for me it does kind of stay true to the sci-fi thriller genre. Now let's have a look at the acting within this movie. So for me, I'm just going to be focusing on the 3 main characters, and to me I was pretty much convinced by their acting skills, and they convinced me with the characters that they were trying to sell us on. I do want to say though that if we look at Sayla in the beginning, she just kind of seems lackluster, if that makes sense. Like she's just like an object of attraction to these other two main characters. It's only later on as things develop on the spaceship that you actually see her character kind of come out and develop, which was a good thing. I think in the beginning you're just kind of like, okay, you're not really sure like what the projection of her character is going to be. Whereas with the other guys, it's pretty clear to see from the beginning who is going to be portraying the evil side and who's going to be portraying the good side. And I think they did a fantastic job at that. I mean, if we're looking at Zach, I did not like the boy, okay? I was like, no, like you don't need to be here, sir. Like you can keep that energy on that side. And then if we look at Christopher as well, like I was obviously rooting for the good side. So I was like, listen, bruh, I'm for you. Like anytime that there was any kind of situation between the three of them, I got heated, okay? Because I'm like, no, Zach, relax. Relax. So I think they did a good job for me because I was quite drawn in by their acting. One character I do think is worth mentioning, although they're not like a super main character, is Phoebe. And the reason why I'll mention that really quickly is because Phoebe is kind of like the Piggy from Lord of the Flies, except just for Voyagers. You know, she represents the level-headed do-gooder who's always about protocol, and I think that's also why people continue to compare the two movies. Lastly, let's have a look at the overall production. Okay, so I'm not like a super film critic. I'm not within the like industry to be able to be like, that camera angle is not working, this is this and this. I just am a normal consumer like you and I, and I'm just gonna say that you can see that a lot of effort has been put into simulating spaceship conditions, and a lot of the behind the scenes footage also gives us like a bit of a sneak peek into what it takes to produce such a movie. I think the overproduction is good, the angles are good, the lighting is good, the overall vibe of the movie is good. I think it's one of those movies that you should just watch. If you enjoyed Lord of the Flies, you're definitely gonna enjoy Voyagers. There is one thing that I do want to say that does speak to the overall production of the movie, which I enjoyed seeing, is that this movie was produced by the producer Neil Berger, who actually produced the movie Limitless, which is that one that had Bradley Cooper in it, and it was about that super drug that made you like superhuman or whatever the case was. You can kind of see him echoing his previous work through Voyagers, through those like fast motion montages and just like the overall editing. Now let's just give this movie an overall rating, okay? Which is going to be the hardest part because I feel like something like this is very subjective based off of, you know, your own enjoyment of the movie. I think I'll go ahead and rate this movie like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. And I'll give it that ranking because it was a good movie. Like, it was produced well, I understood the message, the acting was great, all those categories that I just spoke about. And I'm someone who generally enjoys seeing producers and storytellers kind of predict what they think will happen with humanity and the human race, whether that be with diseases or robotics or spaceships. Like, I enjoy that kind of stuff. So for me, this movie definitely gets a 7/8 out of 10, okay, Piriana. But anyways, that brings us to the end of this movie review. This brings us to the end of episode 1. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, share, do all the things. And while you're down there in the comment section, please also let me know what movie or TV show you'd like for me to review next. Also, while you're down there in the comments, do let me know what you thought of this movie after you've watched it. Come back and we can have a little kiki in the comments. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.